It's Thursday, April 21st, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Chaplinsky, and later on in the show, we'll be taking a look at the front pages of our HAN Network newspapers this week. Rob Adams will also take a look at the forecast and have the latest in local sports news, and Donald Ang will take a look back on this day in history. But first, on to today's headlines. A possibly armed robber held up a jewelry shop at the Westfield Trumbull Mall Wednesday afternoon, according to Hearst, Connecticut media. Preliminary reports indicated that a man wearing a blue sweatshirt and sunglasses robbed a store at the Main Street shopping mall at gunpoint around 6 o'clock, though Trumbull Police Department spokesman Lieutenant Leonard Cinto said there was no confirmation that the suspect did in fact have a gun. Cinto said the suspect was a roughly 30-year-old black man standing about 5 feet 8 inches tall with a medium build. The lieutenant said the man held up Icing, which is a women's jewelry store. Mall officials were not immediately available for comment. And as we've been reporting for the past few days, brush fire risks were high this week due to weather conditions, and fire officials in both New Canaan and Darien were battling blazes yesterday. In Darien, all 3 fire departments were on the scene of a suspicious blaze at Woodland Park containing a fire that Fire Marshal Bob Buck described as fairly large and taking up more than an acre of the park. The first call came in at about 3:20 in the afternoon, and residents were not affected. He said the fire had been contained as of 5:45 p.m. yesterday, though the fire departments remained on the scene for a while. Buck said the fire was suspicious, but it was not clear whether it was set on purpose or accidentally, and that investigation continues. He added that 5 acres of ground cover and downed trees had been damaged, but were mostly standing trees were spared. And in New Canaan, the fire department responded to a call about a brush fire which broke out at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday at 149 Parish Lane South. According to the homeowner, her son was jumping on a trampoline in the backyard before noticing a flame emerging from a wood pile on the side of the driveway. According to Assistant Fire Chief Russ Kimes, the fire spread to the mulch within about 4 feet of the wood pile. Firefighters were able to extinguish before it could spread any further. According to Kimes, the cause of the fire is unknown, but you can get more at ncadvertiser.com. And an Easton couple who sold highly addictive narcotic pain pills from their Adams Road home has been sentenced to 7 years and committed to the State Department of Corrections. But neither Curtis Pisty, 56 years old, or his wife, Joanne Pisty, 55, is likely to spend any time behind bars. A Superior Court judge on April 15th sentenced both parties to 7 years jail suspended with 5 years of probation. In early 2015, Fairfield detectives discovered that a Fairfield resident was selling large amounts of oxycodone. As they pursued the investigation, they discovered that the resident would travel to the Pisty's home in Easton on the same day they would refill substantial amounts of doctor-prescribed oxycodone and other powerful narcotic medications. Members of the Fairfield Police Narcotics Unit arrested the couple at their home on May 20th after executing multiple search and seizure warrants and seizing hundreds of narcotic pain medication pills and a cash following a lengthy investigation. Fairfield police seized nearly 750 controlled narcotics pills and more than $5,000 in cash in the home. The street value of the pills was conservatively estimated at $30,000. A Trumbull man and a Stamford man have been arrested on warrants for conspiracy to commit larceny at the Trumbull Police Department in connection with an employee shoplifting ring at the Home Depot that was first exposed on April 10th. Trumbull police said that 20-year-old Jonathan Stunzi turned himself in Wednesday and admitted to playing a role in the larcenies that took place from January 2015 to October 2015 at the Home Depot on Monroe Turnpike. Stamford resident 29-year-old Gregory Alston also turned himself in on Monday, April 18th. Police said Alston played an integral role in the operation because he was the boss of the overnight crew that worked at the store and stole an estimated $300,000 worth of tools during their shifts. He failed to report the shoplifting ring to management and lied about reviewing overnight security footage. An audit revealed the scheme, and Home Depot's Asset Protection Department reported it to the Trumbull Police last fall. The report said Home Depot reviewed surveillance of the crew after the audit report came in, and the shift manager admitted to overlooking the tapes to support the scheme. And in other news, with backing from Connecticut's pediatricians, the House of Representatives voted 129 to 13 Wednesday night for legislation allowing physicians to prescribe cannabis oil to treat children for a half dozen serious medical conditions. The bill now goes to the state Senate. The legislation would expand the state's so-called medical marijuana law to allow physicians for the first time to prescribe a non-smokable form of cannabis for patients younger than age 18. The state chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics fought a similar law last year, but relented after the bill was narrowed and the organization heard from pediatric neurologists and parents of children with severe disorders who saw cannabis as a last resort. And it was an uncomfortable photo op at the New Canaan train station yesterday between First Selectman Rob Malazzi and a representative from the Metropolitan Transportation Authority. The New Canaan Advertiser has been covering a story about a large unpaid debt owed to the town from the MTA, causing frustration and outrage from the First Selectman. Settling a debt of over $45,000 owed for the New Canaan Police Department providing officers for extra duty assignments, the MTA had a check personally delivered to First Selectman Rob Malazzi at the station yesterday afternoon. It was a brief encounter as the check was handed over to Malazzi, a few pleasantries exchanged, and the MTA official then reboarded the train to go back to New York. The Advertiser wanted to capture the check exchange moment, but the MTA rep declined. And Shake Shack has resubmitted its application for several sign variances to Darien Zoning Board of Appeals. A previous variance request was denied by the ZBA, prompting many, including property owner David Genovese, to believe the burger chain would walk away from Darien. However, 1 month later, Shake Shack has opted to reapply after making some adjustments to the requests. ZBA Chairman Gary Green told the Darien Times that Shake Shack needed to provide evidence of hardship at the 1340 Post Road location in order for the sign variances to be granted. Among the 10 variances requested by Shake Shack were requests for a 24-inch letters instead of the 10-inch limit imposed by zoning regulations. But you can get a lot more on that story at DarienTimes.com. We're going to switch gears and throw it over to Rob Adams for a look at the forecast.
Thanks, Kate. Good morning, everyone. We have a sunny day with a high near 70. The wind out of the southwest from 8 to 11. Tonight, a slight chance of showers after midnight with increasing clouds and a low around 55. We move to Friday. Slight chance of showers between 2 and 4, so the early afternoon hours, and a slight chance of showers and thunderstorms after that. Mostly cloudy and 77 for the high, so mighty warm, but sounding like mighty rainy as well. However, the chance of precipitation lingering around 20%. But I did see a note from the Shelton Athletic Department that they're moving a baseball game to today out of concern for the weather, so we'll see. Maybe that chance of rain will rise. Showers and likely a thunderstorm looking into Friday night and patchy fog. Otherwise, mostly cloudy and a low around 55. That's when the rain chance goes up to 70%. Saturday, mostly cloudy, then gradually sunny and a high of 64. Sunday, sunny and a high of only 60. Monday, more of the same, partly sunny, high 60. We look to Tuesday, chance of rain and 56. Wednesday, mostly sunny and 57. Greenwich, you have 62 degrees. In Ridgefield, it is 65. And right here in Shelton, a very comfortable 65 degrees, Kate.
All right, thanks, Rob. We're going to take a break, come back with Donald Eng's look back on this day in history. Rob has the latest sports news, and we have some more headlines coming up after this.
Had a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or go to coastalorthoexpress.com. That's coastalorthoexpress.com. Like them on Facebook.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well. Until April 30th, choose $150 cash for a Smeg toaster when you open a My Bankwell Choice checking account with a minimum of $2,000.
A Better View Window Cleaning Plus has been cleaning glass all over Connecticut for over 20 years. They also specialize in cleaning chandeliers, mirrors, skylights, tiles, and will power wash anything that needs cleaning. They hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and are fully insured and bonded. When you deal with a Better View, you're dealing with the best, not the rest. Call today for a free estimate, 203-284-8836, or visit them online, abetterviewcleaning.com.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday right here on the HAN Network.
We're back on this Thursday edition of your Coffee Break, and it's time to throw it over to Donald Eng for a look back on this day in history. Don.
Well, Kate, April 21st, the day Snoopy loses his arch nemesis. But first, we're going to go all the way back to 753 BCE. According to legend, Romulus founds the city of Rome. Romulus and his brother Remus had argued over where they would build a city for their followers. Remus died in the ensuing fight. The Romans believed he named the city after himself, though historians say the name Romulus is actually a back formation from the name of the city. It wasn't until about 700 years later that the Romans made Remus and Romulus descendants of Aeneas, who led the survivors of the Trojan War. To 1836 now, Texas Revolution, the Battle of San Jacinto. Republic of Texas forces under Sam Houston defeat the Mexican army under General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna. Santa Anna had ordered his 1,200 men to make camp in an open field about 400 yards away from a forest line where there were known to be Texans hiding, then allowed them to take siesta. At about 4 p.m., the 900 or so Texans fired one cannon shot and one rifle volley, and the Mexican army fled. The battle was over in 18 minutes, though the pursuit of the fleeing Mexicans went on for hours. Santa Anna would then be captured and forced to sign a peace treaty granting independence to Texas. To 1934 we go. The surgeon's photograph, the most famous photo allegedly showing the Loch Ness Monster, published in the Daily Mail. Credited to London gynecologist Robert Wilson, the elaborate fake was payback for a friend of Wilson's having been fooled by a previous Loch Ness Monster hoax. The contraption you are looking at is a toy submarine bought from Woolworths with a head and neck sculpted from wood putty. It's only about 24 inches long. It is also likely still in the loch as it sank just after the photo was taken. And finally, now we go to 1918 for this.
Well, it was one morning.
Yeah.
Richtofen and his circus, used to call it,
Yeah.
flying up and down about 400 or 500 yards behind their line, at a height of about 1,000 feet. Our fellows were on our side, up and down like this, and suddenly you could distinguish Richtofen's plane by the fact that he had a red cowl over the engine. He peeled off and flew towards us. We had a Vickers machine gun mounted as anti-aircraft, and we thought we'd hit him.
Yeah.
However, he landed about 300 yards behind our lines. I raced across to where he was landed. When I got there, they had him lying on a military folding table in a marquee. Well, as we thought we'd brought him down, I was instructed to attend his funeral, which was in a little...
Yes, 1918, on this day, German fighter ace Manfred von Richthofen, better known as the Red Baron, shot down over the Somme in France. Richthofen had been credited with shooting down 80 Allied planes. As you heard, his plane crashed and landed behind enemy Allied lines. He was buried with full military honors by the British. German planes flew over the funeral and dropped wreaths. You know, there's a lot of World War II aficionados. I always find World War I much more interesting for precisely that reason, the confluence of like knightly behavior and incredible technology and violence. That is your look back in history, and I am Donald Eng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, getting back to a little more news today, 2 meetings 2 weeks apart on 2 different marijuana dispensaries in Milford had different tones, with one opposed by neighbors and the other presented before a nearly empty auditorium at Milford City Hall. The Planning and Zoning Board voted unanimously at its April 19th meeting to approve a site plan to allow Southern Connecticut Wellness and Healing to operate a medical marijuana dispensary in a commercial building on New Haven Avenue. The site plan review was not a public hearing, so there was no opportunity for public input. The building is located near Buckingham Avenue and the Metro-North Railroad tracks in an area that permits medical marijuana dispensaries. Meanwhile, the Milford Board is reviewing their proposed updates to its regulations for medical marijuana that could mean those 2 businesses would be the only dispensaries permitted in Milford. But we're going to throw it back to Rob Adams now for a Nutmeg Sports Update.
All right, Kate, thanks. We'll start with boys volleyball. The Ridgefield Tigers hosted the Darien Blue Wave in a matchup of undefeated teams. The HAN Network was there. Let's check out the highlights.
This HAN Network video is brought to you by Carl Chevrolet.
It's a lovely springtime day in Ridgefield. A great day to be outdoors. Oh, wait, we're inside. It's boys volleyball on the HAN Network.
Ridgefield really impressive, able to put something away like that, even though the pass wasn't necessarily there to start that point off.
Yeah, great job, Ryan Miller.
Back row attack, keeping it in. Now Ridgefield's got to set up on defense to try to stop Alex's attack. Good defensive up. Free ball over. They send it out of bounds, Darien point.
So Darien with their first lead at 15-14.
Ridgefield keeping this ball in play, setting up on defense. They got to stop them, or Darien take the first game.
Good job by Ladotti.
Free ball over, taking the setter out of the play. And the Blue Wave take the first game, 25-22.
Henrik with the serve.
Keeping the ball away from Tyler. Oh, and a great power tip, giving Darien that second set.
Up front, Herget.
Able
Still
to keep it
alive.
in play. Ridgefield able to push that one back over. Big swing from Alex Preston, and unfortunately falls short.
And
Ridgefield taking the third set, making it a 2-1.
The Tigers find some life, 25-23 in this one. We come back to Ridgefield, 27-26.
Tight pass.
Good job.
Way to keep it alive. Oh, and Tib Herget puts it away for the win. Great final swing right down into the middle with some serious power. Darien showing a lot of excitement as they win this game.
Darien grabbed the 3-1 win with scores of 25-22, 25-21 before losing the third game 25-23, but grabbing the last game 28-26. For Darien, these numbers are crazy. Alex Preston had 10 digs, 6 points, 22 kills, 3 blocks. Here's the crazy one. Tyler Herget made 58 assists. Onto the scoreboard you go, and you're taking a look at boys volleyball, and you get a look at Trumbull over St. Joseph, 3-0. John Brindisi compiled 20 digs to go along with 10 service points for Trumbull, and Greenwich over Fairfield, 3-2. As we move on to baseball now, St. Joseph over Danbury 6-1. Al Palazzi had 2 doubles and drove in 2 runs. Greenwich with a 9-6 win over Stanford in the Wild FCAC. Trumbull over New Canaan 10-6. Danny Rachowski 3-for-4 with an RBI. West Hill top Trinity Catholic. Darien all over Stanford. Peter Merrim with a home run. McMahon took care of Ridgefield. Norwalk over Central, and Wilton beat Ward as Drew Connolly hit a home run and had 2 RBIs for the Warriors. On the softball now, St. Joseph took care of Danbury 7-1. Staples with a throttling of Greenwich 23-6. Norwalk 7, Central 4. Megan Hyatt had 2 hits, 5 RBIs, and 2 runs scored for Ridgefield. They collected 19 hits. The Tigers beat McMahon 18-2. Wilton over Ward 9-3. Emma Cropper led Wilton with a double, 2 singles, and 2 runs batted in. New Canaan shut out Trumbull 2-0. Jillian Kane a 4-hit shutout, and Molly Keshin hit a 2-run triple in the 4th. Ludlow 14, Bassick 0. West Hill over Trinity Catholic, and Darien knocked off Stanford. Over to boys lacrosse now. New Canaan a 10-6 win on top of Norwalk, and Wilton over Glastonbury 17-6. Also Staples by 1 over Conard in girls lacrosse 11-10. Boys tennis, McMahon knocked off Stamford, and it was Staples shutting down Central. From girls tennis, Staples did the same to Central. Greenwich over West Hill, and Trinity Catholic on top of Stamford 5-2. Finally, to boys golf, Greenwich over Central. That was at Fairchild Wheeler. New Canaan knocked off Fairfield Ward by 18 strokes. It was West Hill over Wilton, and St. Joseph took care of McMahon. Also, after managerial stints by Pete Rose and Paul O'Neill, the Bridgeport Bluefish are handing the lineup card over to Roger Clemens for one game, that on August 5th. The former Major League pitcher did pitch briefly in the Atlantic League for the Sugarland Skeeters, where his son Kobe was a catcher. Big schedule today. Danbury is at Trumbull in baseball. Naugatuck is home for Ludlow. It's Millennium Ward in softball. From boys lacrosse, Central at Danbury. Yorktown of New York comes to Ridgefield. Ward hosting Bethel. Ludlow at Southington. West Hill at Stamford. And New Canaan at Greenwich at 4 o'clock. We will be at Cardinal Stadium for that call. Boys lacrosse, 4 o'clock here on the HAN Network. Also, Staples at West Hill, Ward at Stamford. Ludlow is at Ridgefield. New Canaan at Norwalk. These all girls lacrosse games. St. Joseph at Greenwich. Danbury at Wilton. And Darien at McMahon. You also have boys outdoor track and field, girls outdoor track and field, boys tennis, girls tennis, boys golf, girls golf, boys volleyball. Of course, you can check the whole schedule at FCIAC.net. It's a big one today for sure. And we'll have lacrosse, as I said, coming up later on today at 4 o'clock. That's it with sports. I'm Rob Adams.
All
Kate,
right.
back to you.
Thanks so much, Rob. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, John Kovach is going to join me, and we're going to take a look at the front page of our papers this week. So keep watching. We'll be back.
At the Sylvan Learning Center of Darien, experienced teachers and personalized academic support equals superior results. Our certified teachers uncover skill gaps, address specific needs, and help students realize greater academic success and increased confidence. We're enrolling now. Individualized after-school tutoring in reading, math, history, elementary math, algebra, geometry, calculus, high school science, and study skills. For a free consultation, call 203-655-3276 or email gmcsylvan@gmail.com.
Alberto Londano Professional Painting, Wallpapering, and Carpentry has been serving Fairfield County for over 20 years. Based in Norwalk, Alberto takes pride in his work by offering you only the best quality service and products. Call Alberto today to get a free estimate and be one step closer to a new and exciting home makeover. 203-866-9635.
Do you need help reaching or maintaining your fitness goals? For over 20 years, Mike Pernice has tailored his time and expertise to clients on both coasts whose schedules demand flexibility and accountability. Mike is a certified lifestyle manager and has been called upon to help his clients eliminate negative behaviors such as coping with stress, improving their time management, setting realistic life goals, and cutting down compulsive behavior. If you're ready to start working toward a more energetic, productive, and healthier you, call Mike Pernice.
I'm Denise DiGregoli, the host of The Drive on the HAN Network. Join me Tuesdays for some motivational, intelligent talk with a little humor as we visit with people who live their lives mindfully. Tune in to The Drive live on Tuesdays, 12:30, here on the HAN Network.
When it comes to local entertainment, we've got it all.
From movies, local artists, etiquette, and more.
Watch HAN Arts and Leisure every Thursday at 2 on the HAN Network.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
Join the HAN Network and Make-A-Wish Connecticut to help make travel wishes come true for local kids with life-threatening medical conditions. Donate your unused airline miles to the HAN Network Wishes in Flight campaign. Together we can share the power of a wish.
Welcome back to Coffee Break. It's Thursday, so I'm joined by John Kovach, our editorial director, to look at our front pages this week. John?
Yes, Kate?
Yes.
Glad
Good
to be
week.
here.
Lots
Very
going on,
good week,
actually.
a very busy week. Some
Yes.
interesting and a very touching story in the Darien Times where Susan Schultz interviewed David Lopiano. He is a firefighter. He is on the Board of Finance, and he was left paralyzed after a snowboarding accident. The community rallying around him and his family. Great story there, DarienTimes.com, and on the front page of the Darien Times. Also, while they deferred on the discussion of lights at Darien High School for the athletic field, the selectmen in Darien did approve a request for paramedics. So that's moving forward. What's going on in your neck of the woods?
Well, there was a lot of fun last week, vacation week in Trumbull. There was the big Rotary Carnival, so we have some great pictures from that on the front page.
The ripcord always makes for great shots.
I know. And, interesting story that we talked about yesterday on CT Pulse, which was a Saturday Night Live skit on heroin causing some backlash locally with a mother who founded Heroin Kills CT. And some budget news in Trumbull, of course. They finally passed Tim Herbst's budget.
And the back and forth between First Selectman Tim Herbst and Anthony Musto. That's
the
a
town
must
treasurer,
read.
yes. That's a Musto read. Get it?
That's very
Okay.
good. That was quick. I like that.
Anyway.
One of my favorite things that we ever covered was a car show and a great look at a 2015 Mercedes Gullwing on the front page of the New Canaan Advertiser. Caffeine and Carburetors held again in New Canaan. It's an event that was really a victim of its own success as it got so big that they couldn't really have it where they had it for all those months leading up to it.
Very cool. All right. Well, I'm taking a look at the front page of the Ridgefield Press. Interesting story here by Tony Spinelli. The warm winter that we had caused the same amount of Lyme disease infection as Ridgefield normally sees during the summer and fall. That, according to the health department. Interesting there. And just a beautiful spring photo by Tom Nash of those daffodils on Main Street. Just gorgeous.
That is a great shot. Well, we're thinking about spring. Birds nesting, and I'm afraid of the bird that will be occupying the nest that is on the front page of the Lewisboro Ledger. Great shot there by Scott Mullen. And a story about a 5K, this to raise awareness of families that lose a child who is stillborn.
Yeah, great feature there. All right, well, taking a look at the front page of the Stratford Star. There was a lot of big news in Stratford in the past week. Terrible news last Friday of a man killed by a Metro North train Friday afternoon, 46-year-old Michael Dascam. They're saying it doesn't appear to be accidental, but the investigation is ongoing. And the man last year who harassed members of Victoria Soto's family, she was one of the teachers killed in the Sandy Hook school shooting, he was sentenced to 2 years probation. So.
In Monroe, if you drive on Route 111, and many do, be prepared because there will be bridge construction starting next week. That is Route 111 near Rygate Terrace, That project will continue through November of next year, so be prepared to sit on Route 111 in Monroe.
All right, well, I'm taking a look at the front page of the Weston Forum. And if you recall, John, Victoria McGrath, who was a survivor of the Boston Marathon bombing, and she was a Weston native, she died in a car crash in Dubai in March. And now they're going to be naming a playground in her honor in Weston. So nice story there. And of course, we're still working with Make-A-Wish CT to try to raise airline miles.
Yes.
We have a new Wish kid that we're highlighting on the front page of the Weston Forum and some of our other papers this week. Very cool story. She was, Kate Elliott was at a firehouse in Ridgefield. And we really need those airline miles to help make wishes come true.
We do. There are a couple of different stories in this week. There's a girl in Stratford who wanted a Disney cruise. There's a girl in Shelton who wanted to meet Mickey Mouse. They had a party and a trip for her. They're out there online, the stories. They're on the front pages. Go online, donate your airline miles.
Definitely.
What have you got over there?
Well, I'm taking a look at the front page of the Wilton Bulletin. More beautiful spring photos. It's that time of year. Everything's finally blooming. And in some news in Wilton, school renovation will be completed early. An expanded hazardous waste abatement at the Miller Driscoll School. They're thinking that they will get done early on that. So
always good news.
Good news.
In Easton, a story you just brought us here on Coffee Break, and that a couple sentenced for selling pills. And school officials topping the high salaries list that comes out every year. Plus a story, and these are always a good event to shoot. and to cover when seniors and students bridge that age gap, and that's on the front page of the Easton Courier.
Very cool. Well, taking a look at the front page of the Milford Mirror, a very cute boy downtown doing some spring cleaning, but it's going with a story about some parking issues and restrictions aiming to fix some of the issues at Walnut Beach. They're going to be charging a fee, a bigger fee for the first time, so that should be interesting and lead to some issues there.
In Reading, that's just one of the towns dealing with the state reduction in the education cost-sharing formula and the discussions as to how that is going to affect not only the school budget, but everybody's local tax bill.
All right. Taking a look at the front page of the Shelton Herald, some exciting news for downtown Shelton. A lot's been happening there, but a Canal Street project moving forward with some help from some state money that's come in there. And Mayor Loretti being named a parade marshal for the Juneteenth parade, which is a celebration of the Emancipation Proclamation or the abolition of slavery. So very cool there.
Very good stuff.
All right, John, so Yankee Fisherman's coming up at 1.
Got some great footage this weekend of the first Any Bassin event up at Candlewood Lake, and got out myself up in Massachusetts on Sunday, one of the most beautiful places I've ever fished, and we've got some footage of that. Going to be a fun show.
Great. All right, and we have HAN Arts and Leisure at 2, and then, of course, lacrosse coming at you today at 4. So we're going to wrap things up on your coffee break. We'll see you tomorrow at 11. Have a great day.